Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today I'm going to be going over my picks for the top 10 all-wheel drive cars / vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. All these vehicles are going to be 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It's the same thing in GTA. There's no difference between the two. All 4 of the wheels deliver power to the ground. We're going to have some supercars on this list. We're going to have some SUVs, some off-roaders, everything like that. And just before we get into the video, drop a like if you enjoy, guys, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you're new. Let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with number 10, we have the Ocelot Virtue coming in at $2,235,000 or $2,980,000 or free if you complete the first and last dose missions from the Drug Wars DLC. Now, the Ocelot Virtue is the fastest accelerating vehicle on last gen platforms, being PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And even on new gen consoles, this thing is still super quick. So definitely don't sleep on the Ocelot Virtue. The only reason that I put it at number 10 is because I feel like I'm always talking about the Ocelot Virtue, and it's always ranked very high on lists because it is just such a good vehicle. But for this list, I just wanted to get it right out of the way at number 10 because I'm kind of sick of talking about it, to be honest. It's also got Imani tech, meaning that you can put a missile lock-on jammer on it, and it has an armor plating upgrade as well as an oil slick proximity mine dropper. This thing's really good. It's definitely one of the best vehicles in the entire game on all platforms for sure. I'm really just getting tired of talking about it though. It is just so good, but I kind of want Rockstar to come up with something new so I don't have to talk about the Virtue so much. But anyways, that's it for number 10. Let's talk about number 9. Next up, number 9, we have the Declasse Draugr coming in at $1,402,500 if you got the trade price. Now, if you don't have the trade price, it's going to be $1,870,000. So it is a little bit more on the expensive side. However, the Declasse Draugr is the best off-road class vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online. This thing is absolutely insane. It shreds off-road races, it shreds off-roads, it shreds hill climbing. You can climb the back of Mount Chiliad with no problems with this thing. It is just such a fun vehicle. It's definitely very off-road styled and everything like that. It looks like a go-kart pretty much, but an off-road go-kart at that. It's so fast, it's so fun. This thing is just, it's an absolutely amazing vehicle, and it's definitely something that you guys should all own in GTA Online. If you don't, it is seriously a blast, this vehicle for sure. Next up, number 8, we have the Pegassi Ignis coming in at $2,765,000. The Ignis is a pretty awesome supercar. It's definitely one of the better looking supercars in the game, and of course the performance does back up the great looks that this thing does come with. It's absolutely awesome. It has super hard acceleration due to the all-wheel drive. The top speed though is a little bit on the weaker side. However, the acceleration and the handling can kind of make up for that. Just don't use this thing in like a super long drag race, for example. Stuff like that, it's probably not going to win. However, the Ignis is just absolutely awesome regardless. It's got so much customization that can be done, and I truly think it is one of the best looking cars as far as detail and everything like that in Grand Theft Auto Online. This thing is crazy looking. Definitely pick up an Ignis if you've never had one before. It's awesome. Number 7, we have the Grotti Italy RSX coming in at $2,598,750 with the trade price, and a whopping $3,465,000 without the trade price. This is the most expensive sports car in the entire game. This thing is crazy expensive, almost $3.5 million for a sports car. And unfortunately, a sports car that has no downforce because Rockstar messed this thing up and made it so that the car doesn't actually produce downforce, meaning that it's not very good around the corners. However, it does have a very high top speed of about 132 miles per hour, which is crazy in GTA. That's pretty damn fast. It's also, of course, all-wheel drive, so it accelerates very well off the line and all the way up to its top speed. This thing's crazy good. The customization on top of it all as well is just insane. You can make the RSX look so realistic, just like the SF90 Ferrari that it's based on. Such an awesome vehicle. Definitely something that you guys should look into, albeit if you got the money. There are some better vehicles you can buy for a little bit less money, low key, but we'll talk about them in this list. They're coming up a little bit ahead here, but let's talk about number 6. Next up, number 6, we got a removed vehicle. This is the Enus Paragon R coming in at $905,000. Now, you can actually get an armored variant of this for completing the casino story missions for Miss Baker, so that is something you may want to keep in mind, especially right now because the regular version is removed. But if you can get the armored version, You get it for free too, by the way. That would be pretty great. The Paragon R has insanely good acceleration, great handling, and a pretty competitive top speed. It is a sports car, not a supercar, so do keep that in mind, but this thing is definitely one of the faster sports cars in the game, very competitive to race with, as a matter of fact. The customization also works super well on this thing, and you can go for several different builds, more of an aggressive thing, more of a relaxed sort of luxury build. You can do it all with the Enus Paragon R. Overall, it is definitely a pretty awesome vehicle and you should look into it. Next up at number 5, we have a fan favorite, the Pegassi Zentorno, coming in at $725,000. I remember the day the Zentorno released in Grand Theft Auto Online so vividly. This thing was absolutely insane when it first came out in GTA. Hardest accelerating vehicle, definitely the fastest supercar, amazing to race with, and even to this day, for the low price of 725 grand, this thing is still actually somewhat competitive in the supercars category. Like, you're not going to win races, but you're probably not going to come last place, and it's better than a lot of cars that are more than double, maybe even triple its price. So that is pretty crazy to think about. Zentorno also got some added customization with the release of the Criminal Enterprises DLC in 2022. So it's got extra spoiler options, bumper options, liveries, exhaust options, basically anything that you can think of, it's got extra options for it now, which is really cool. So if you haven't driven a Zentorno for a while, or you haven't owned one for a while, you should consider buying one because it has had a lot of stuff added to it to make it just that little bit better. And next up at number 4, we have the Ubermacht Rebla GTS, first SUV on the list. We got it for $1,175,000. The Rebla GTS is a pretty awesome SUV, especially for the price that you're paying. Luckily, it is on the cheaper side of things. I mean, over $1 million bucks, still not super cheap, but cheap in terms of cars in GTA nowadays, it seems like. The Rebla GTS is overall just a great SUV. It's got insanely good acceleration, very high top speed, with handling to match. Unlike the Pegassi Toros, where the handling is a little bit sketchy, the Rebla GTS does a really good job of being an all-around SUV that is just great at pretty much everything you throw at it. This thing can be slammed down to the ground, so you can have just a strictly street-only build, or you can keep the suspension stock and be able to take it off-road a little bit easier. The Rebla GTS has so much customization, you can make it look just like a BMW X5M, which I think is super awesome. Overall, a great vehicle and definitely one that you guys should look into if you haven't ever owned one. At number 3, we have the Pegassi Torero XO, $2,890,000. A little more on the expensive side, however, you are getting what you're paying for. Being that it is all-wheel drive, being that it's a supercar, it's got a super high top speed of 132 miles an hour, as well, similar to the Gradiatelli RSX, but let me tell you, it gets there a lot quicker. The acceleration on this thing is far superior. However, similar to the Gradiatelli RSX, this thing also has no downforce, so it really struggles in the corners, which is a huge shame, but off the line and straight line stuff, super easy for the Torero XO. And even if you're driving around on the roads of GTA, you're not really going to notice the downforce too much. It's mostly for when you're racing with the vehicle. So if you don't race, then the Pegassi Torero XO will be pretty okay for you. It's also got a ton of customization with some forged carbon options, which is really sweet to see. Definitely a very unique looking vehicle. Finally, a more modern Lamborghini that looks a little more like the Aventador. I'm still praying to get one day, but this is a modern Countach for right now, and I'm pretty happy that it's in the game, that's for sure. Next up, number 2, regarded as the best supercar for racing for quite some time in GTA Online, we have the Benefactor Krieger, coming in at $2,875,000. A little bit on the expensive side, however, you are getting what you're paying for. The downforce works on this thing, which is awesome. It's got great acceleration. Top speed is around 129 miles per hour, so it's definitely up there for sure in the supercars category. Not the fastest ever, but not the slowest, that's for sure. Not a whole lot of customization, unfortunately, on the Krieger. It's a little bit of a boring supercar, in my opinion. It's great looking, don't get me wrong, and the performance is awesome, but it's just not that customizable or changeable, really. Not to say that it's a bad looking vehicle, it just isn't super exciting in my opinion. Overall, the Krieger definitely still a great supercar to pick up for sure, and for the price, you're definitely getting what you're paying for. Now for some honorable mentions here, we have the Obey Omni EGT coming in at $1,795,000. This thing is fully electric and it is Imani Tech capable, meaning that it can have the armor plating upgrade, the missile lock-on jammer, and of course, the oil slick proximity mines. And because it's electric, instead of being able to take 4 RPGs, it can take 12, which is crazy, and the same goes for homing missiles. So this thing is definitely pretty awesome. good amount of customization, overall a great vehicle. And for the final honorable mention, we have the Pegasi weaponized Ignis with HSW coming in at $4,500,000 plus an additional $500,000 for the HSW. Unfortunately, this is only available on the Xbox Series S and X and the PS5. But if you do have those platforms, you should definitely pick up a weaponized Ignis. It is the Ignis that we talked about earlier on this list, but with a top-mounted machine gun that does crazy amounts of damage. Now, unfortunately, the machine gun is not that great because you can only aim it at like about a 60-degree angle. It's not very good. It's front-facing and you cannot change that, but it is still pretty awesome. And it comes equipped with a missile lock-on jammer, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, no armor plating upgrade or anything like that, but the missile lock-on jammer is still nice to have for sure. And at number 1, the best all-wheel drive car in Grand Theft Auto Online is the Grotti Italia GTO, coming in at $1,965,000. This thing is crazy good. It's got a ton of customization, regarded as the fastest sports car in Grand Theft Auto Online for a very, very long time. Unfortunately, now it's got a few competitors in the Karen S95, as well as the Panad Le Carousse with HSW. But I still think the Italia GTO is the superior sports car in GTA Online. When it comes to looks as well as performance, the Grotti Italia GTO is just the one, man. This is the one you want. It's absolutely awesome for the price that you're getting it for as well, which, I mean, sub $2 million for the fastest car in a category. Not too bad. The Italia GTO's got a lot of customization as well. You can make this thing look super awesome. Overall, definitely the best all-wheel drive car in Grand Theft Auto Online. Anyway, guys, there you have it. Those are my picks for the top 10 all-wheel drive cars in GTA Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.